I'm an anxiety expert who spent years treating anxiety disorders at Columbia University, and in this video, I'm going to share my favorite exercises for overcoming social anxiety disorder. Hi, I'm Psychologist Dr. Mattu, on a mission to help you feel more chill, cozy, and courageous. In my last video, I explained what social anxiety disorder is, how it's impacted me, and the best ways to overcome it. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out because it's a great foundation for everything I'm going to talk about here. In this video, I'm going to cover the best exercises you can do on your own to overcome social anxiety disorder. You're going to learn how to identify your core fear, how to overcome your fear of anxiety, how to practice social anxiety experiments, and also how to get comfortable with feedback. While everything in this video is based on scientifically supported cognitive behavioral therapy skills, and these are things you can do on your own, if you're someone who's struggling with really significant social anxiety disorder, or you're also experiencing another problem like depression or substance use problems, you might need the support of a professional to make real meaningful progress. The first thing you want to do is understand your core fear. This is the thing below all of your social anxiety, what's fueling it, what you're really afraid of. Once you know this thing, then you know what social anxiety exercises to focus on. I like to do this using the downward arrow technique, and while that might sound like a yoga position, it's not. It's super easy. All you need is a piece of paper and something to write with. You want to start by answering this question. When I'm socially anxious, I'm afraid people think I am, and then fill in the blank. Just write the first thing that comes to your mind. Usually it's some version of weird, strange, loser, ugly, not good enough, stuff like that. For me, my social anxiety always makes me think I'm a weirdo. Then we dig deeper. Let's imagine that this fear is true. What would that say about you? For me, feeling like I'm a weirdo makes me worried that other people are not going to want to be around me, that they're going to want to distance themselves from me. Now, your answer might be totally different, and that's fine. This is all about finding out what your social anxiety makes you worried might happen. Then we dig deeper and we ask questions like, what concerns you about this? What would be the consequence of this? What does this suggest about you? We keep going down until we can't really go any further. If I'm weird and no one wants to be around me, eventually the consequence for me is being rejected and being alone. And that's what my core fear really is about. The most common core fears are being rejected, embarrassed, or criticized. And a lot of people with social anxiety disorder have some combination of a few of these core fears. What core fear have you discovered? Let me know in the comments below. Now, there are so many reasons why you might be experiencing social anxiety disorder, and I explore all of them in my last video. But before we start overcoming social anxiety disorder, we have to stop fighting it and understand how we experience it and sort of make friends with it. The first thing to know is it's really common to fear rejection. Humans are wired for social connection, and when we become teenagers, getting socially rejected becomes one of our biggest fears. So this stuff is really common. If you're experiencing social anxiety disorder, like 18% of people have in the last year, you just have too much anxiety. Your body is getting too active. Your mind is racing a little bit too much and thinking too much about what other people might be thinking about you. And it's very hard for you to stay socially connected, to have eye contact, to be in that situation, and you really want to just hide and avoid. We have to get really good at understanding what our social anxiety symptoms are and when they occur. Because when you do this, when you put words to emotional experiences, they become less scary and less intense. For me, whenever I'm socially anxious, the first thing that happens is my heart starts racing. It starts beating out of my chest. It feels like it's coming out of my chest. It's not actually. And what I do in that situation is go, oh, my heart is racing. That probably means I'm socially anxious. Why am I socially anxious? Oh, it's because I need to raise my hand and ask a question, and I now don't want to do that, and I'm scared people are going to look at me. That's just my social anxiety doing what it's doing, trying to keep me safe when it doesn't really need to, and it's kind of just misfiring. I know this sounds really simple and cheesy, but believe me, it can make a difference. It'll help you to be a little bit less focused on what's happening inside of you and more focused on the people around you, which is a big part of overcoming social anxiety disorder. And if this is really difficult for you, you might want to check out my video on quick anxiety relief techniques. I go through all the coping skills you can use to help you manage anxiety in those situations. Specifically here, grounding, acceptance, opposite action are probably going to be great skills to use. So check out that video if you want a little bit more help in this area. The biggest thing that will keep you trapped in social anxiety is avoidance. That means not going into social situations, or when you go in them, you do little things that might keep you from being connected to other people. To break this pattern, you have to put yourself into social situations that trigger your core fear and stay connected to other people so you can really learn from those experiences. Anxiety therapists call this exposure therapy, and I've got a video that breaks down detailed step-by-steps on how to do this in your own life using an example of social anxiety from my life. But for the purposes of this video, the basics are this. Pick a situation that's probably going to trigger your core fear. Write down what you're afraid might happen if you do this exercise. Then go do the exercise, be in the situation, and try to stay as connected to other people as you can. Afterwards, write down if your core fear came true. How do you know if it came true or did not come true? And what you learned from the situation. Then do it again in a variety of situations with different people. Before I share my favorite exposure exercises, a few things to note. The first is you can always make these easier or harder depending on where you are in your social anxiety journey. The exposure is really just about what feels like a good challenge for you right now, and a good challenge for you is probably going to be different than what a good challenge is for me. You can have a little eye contact or a lot of eye contact. Talk softly, talk loudly. Share nothing at all or share a little bit. Give one-word answers or really elaborate and share details about yourself. Approach a small group of people or a lot of people, or maybe just one person. You can always find ways to tailor these exercises to best fit where you are right now. And if these exercises aren't triggering all those anxiety sensations, you can do stuff like hyperventilate for 30 seconds before you do one of these exercises, or maybe run in place to get you sweating, get your heart racing, all that stuff that usually happens for you when you're socially anxious. Also, make sure you're doing these exercises in situations where you feel physically safe. While I want these exercises to trigger your social anxiety fears, you should not fear for your life or feel in danger. Try doing these exercises in daylight, where there are other people around, in public spaces. The best rejection exercises usually lead to someone saying no or distancing themselves from you. Ask people if they have a moment to respond to a survey. You can ask really simple questions like, do you prefer square or circle intersections? You can ask stuff about their personal tastes, like what do you like to eat? What are your favorite TV shows? Or you can ask controversial questions about religion or politics or the last few Star Wars films. My personal favorite is to ask questions about what people think about people who ask survey questions. Ask someone if you can use their cell phone. People are always hesitant to do this. Go to a coffee shop and without any context, just ask out 5 people. Trust me, you'll get experience with rejection. Ask someone if they're willing to take a selfie with you. Go up to someone you don't know, pretend you know them, and say, hey, Andrew, it's me. Buy something from a store, pretend you don't have enough money to pay for it, and see if the cashier will let you buy it anyways. Get a lot more than 10 items at a grocery store and go to the express line and try to check out anyways. Go to someone who obviously looks very busy and then ask them for directions or restaurant recommendations. If hearing about any of these exercises is making you anxious, then that exercise is probably the right one for you. Here are some to help you with embarrassment. Intentionally trip in front of a lot of people. Drop your papers and bags in front of a lot of people. Trip and drop a lot of papers and bags in front of a lot of people. Find something in your closet that embarrasses you and wear that out in public. Wear mismatched socks. Wear your clothes inside out. Go up to someone and ask for directions for something that's obviously there. Like you are in front of the Golden Gate Bridge and you're asking, where is the Golden Gate Bridge? Ask a really absurd question, like go into a Dunkin' Donuts and ask to speak to Mr. Duncan because you love these donuts so much and you want to compliment the baker. Go to a restaurant and ask what's for free. Order that, it's probably water, drink it, and then leave. Say someone's name incorrectly on purpose. Send an embarrassing typo in an email or text message. For me, this happened all the time in grad school when I was working on my master's thesis because I misspelled public health as pubic health. Order coffee and after it's made, say, "Oops, I actually wanted a tea." Do something in public that you're really bad at, like juggling or playing guitar, and put a little tip jar out there in front of you. Go to a bathroom and pretend like you can't pee, just you're making these loud sounds. Or yell out, "Does anyone have any toilet paper? My stall is completely out." What's cool about all the embarrassment exercises is you can combine them with other ones to make them harder. Like you can wear a really goofy outfit and then go and approach people and ask to take a selfie with them. Evaluation exposures will make you feel like the spotlight is on you. Tell a short story. This can be with friends, family, coworkers, classmates. My favorite short story prompt is, if my life were a movie, one unforgettable scene would be... Handwrite with your non-dominant hand and then have someone read it. Do a stirring contest with someone for 3 minutes and do not laugh. This will be really helpful if you have difficulty with eye contact. Join an improv class. This is my favorite exercise to do because it helps with every core fear. It improves your social skills, makes you a better listener, and helps you to really be flexible in social situations. Bypass the host at a restaurant and just find a table and sit down. Order food, try it, and then send it back saying it doesn't taste very good. Ask to order something that isn't on the menu. When you're talking to someone, tell them you're feeling socially anxious. You can also take some water and throw it onto your armpits to make you seem like you're sweating and really uncomfortable. Ask someone if you're blushing or tell them that you're blushing. If you have social anxiety about blushing, usually talking about it is enough to bring it about. Take some selfies and then go up to someone and ask them to tell you which one looks the best. Slowly use an ATM when there's a long line of people waiting to use it. Try on clothes inside out and then ask someone, how do you look? Go to a movie theater and then have your phone's alarm go off in the middle of the movie. While all these exercises will help you to get more comfortable with that core fear, one critical final step with social anxiety disorder is to get real, authentic, genuine feedback from other people. This will help you to understand how you're really coming across, how different that might be from your expectations of yourself, and what you need to improve. I like to start out with video recordings. You can record yourself or ask someone else to record you. Usually being recorded is really hard, and then watching the video back is really hard. We're really critical on when we see ourselves or hear our voices. You can do this while you are telling a short story, giving a speech, or just having a conversation with other people. Ask someone how you come across in group situations. Are you open and warm and inviting conversation, or are you more closed off, off-putting, and just giving the impression that you don't want other people to talk to you? Are you using a lot of open-ended questions like, what do you like to do for fun? Or are you using a lot of closed-ended questions like, what's your favorite version of Mario Kart? Really understand how you come across in these group situations. And whenever you're in a real-world situation that requires feedback, like a job interview, a date, or meeting new people, ask them for their honest, genuine feedback. Ask them how it went, what went well, what can be improved, and then think about what your core fear is. Maybe you're really afraid you came across as uninteresting on your date. Ask them about that. Just asking for feedback will help you get more comfortable being judged and evaluated. You're also going to get negative feedback sometimes, which you need to hear because not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to be interested in you, and you need to get comfortable with that. And every now and then, you're going to get feedback that is super helpful and actually helps you improve. You also need to get really comfortable getting positive feedback. That's really difficult for people with social anxiety disorder. They don't like the attention. They might get worried that they won't be able to do this good again, and you need to get comfortable with that too. What is one thing from this video you're going to try in your own life? Let me know in the comments below. For more videos on social anxiety disorder, click right over here. And to learn what you can do right now to improve your anxiety, check out this right here.